In 2026, there's a lot of bad advice on videos about how to grow your laundromat, how to get more sales, how to get more customers for laundromats and dry cleaners. And some of these videos, sure, they worked 5 years ago, the tactics they're using, but there's been a lot of change in the last 6 months. I really wanted to sit down in January of 2026 and talk about things that we are currently doing for clients. These are laundromats and dry cleaners across the country. What are these things that are working for them, and make you a roadmap, a game plan. So in 2026, you can be set up for success. And plus, at the end, there's a bonus thing to do. It'll really help you convert at a lower cost and get customers that came in once to get them to come back again. And it only works if you do all the other steps. So do all the other steps, then apply the bonus. I'm very excited to give you this game plan, and feel free to reach out if you need help with any of these stages. But let's dive right in. I don't want to waste too much time. I really want to get into this. Okay, before ads, before social media, before anything, the one thing I look at when I'm working with a new client is their Google business profile, or as it used to be called, Google My Business. I look at that because it is so important in Google's eyes, but is something that we often don't care about. It's just collecting dust for a lot of clients. And it's insanely important for not only to grow your business with SEO with Google, but for so many other reasons. For 2026, I urge you to sit down and update your Google business profile. What does that mean? Check the simple things first, right? Obviously, make sure the hours are right. Make sure your website is right. Make sure any of the links, any of the info that can be updated is updated. Then take an extra second and look up some of your competitors and make sure that your category and their category matches. If you have a big competitor nearby, and they're crushing it, what category did they put on their Google business profile? That alone, making sure that you're in the right category as they are, can really change things for you. Now that all of it's updated, now that you're in the right category, what's next? The next part is you are going to add new photos. You're going to add photos from your iPhone. You're going to add professional photos. You're going to add videos. You're going to reach out to your business partner, your best friend, your cousin, and you're going to have them add a photo. Just, even if they just add one single photo, you're going to add some more content so Google knows that, hey, this is an active business. That's very important. So these photos, not only is that a chance to rank for SEO or to rank a little bit better, it also gives people a little more insight of what your business looks like. It just gives them more data, but also Google loves updates. So you can kind of sprinkle these in. You could fix all your info, make sure it's right for 1 week. Next week, you sit down, you add a photo. The week after that is your plan to send out a text to all your friends, have them add photos. And as all that's happening, Google is noticing that every single week you've been updating, because Google is going to favor you over some competitor that's not using theirs at all. If theirs is a ghost town, it has no photos, doesn't have reviews, doesn't have updated, Google doesn't want to show that. Not as much as they want to show you and how busy you are and how, man, every week someone's adding a photo or adding a review. That's great. So have you noticed all that was free? All that takes just a little bit of time, but it's easy to miss. It's easy to forget about, but not this year. Not in 2026. We're going to focus on it. So next stage is you're going to ask for Google reviews. And later in this video, I'll talk about an app that we use to ask for Google reviews, and it's just automated. So it's always asking and getting those new reviews. So you're not having to send out each single message. But for right now, you should at least ask your friends and family and everyone that is excited about your business to leave a review if they haven't. That's the fresh 2026 start that we're doing. Great. But later, I'll show you automations that are going to make that much easier. Now that we have the Google business profile in place, everything's going well, you have a game plan for this year, let's talk about your website. I highly suggest using WordPress for your website. If you're using like Clean Cloud or Smart or any of the other apps for your laundromat or dry cleaners, they have great plugins to plug right into WordPress websites. But Zach, why do you suggest WordPress? Because it's the best for SEO. Everyone builds tools for WordPress. Everyone knows how to use WordPress. WordPress you can customize to a level that you can't with Squarespace and Wix and all the other templated sites. So you can get the most SEO. Also, you get the best looking website with WordPress, and also your Clean Cloud and Smart and all these other softwares already work with WordPress. They just need a little bit of help to get the plugins set up, and SEO is best on WordPress, not only because the tools that are available, but like in these templated sites like Squarespace and Wix, You can't change the site speed. You can't optimize it in certain ways. You can't always do schema code. You definitely can't do Google image updates to help with SEO where you show up on Google Images. So I urge you, get a WordPress website, custom built, use your Clean Cloud, embed with it, plugins, get it all set up for 2026. And sure, it's an uphill battle with some of these competitors that have been doing SEO for 20 years in your area, but everything that you can do to get that cutting edge at such a low cost to you. So we have the Google business ready. We have the website ready. We're ready for these new customers of 2026 because you're doing things that you didn't do before and something that you're taking these new approaches. And so you're going to get people to find you in different ways that never found you before. Once the website is all set up successfully, write some blogs about the services you offer. And you want to localize the keywords for the blog, but write a couple blogs, get more chances to rank. It's like buying a lottery ticket. Every time you write a blog, every single time you're buying a lottery ticket of one of those blogs really doing well, success on SEO. So write a few blogs, get that up on your new WordPress website. That is really going to help you rank a little bit more than your competitors that are not trying to do any of these things in 2026. Okay, Google Business Profile done. Website ready for conversions. Now we can finally do my favorite thing for laundromats and dry cleaners. The thing that I think helps the most out of anything. This is something that is the lowest cost in my eyes, that gets the greatest conversion, that gets the best traction, and that is Google Ads. Yeah, I really do think that if you're looking at hiring an SEO company to spend thousands of dollars of building all these backlinks and whatnot, I honestly think for laundromats and for dry cleaners, especially in this niche, I think that is better with Google Ads. And I'll talk about why. Well, if you have your Google Business Profile in place, which is important before Google Ads, and if you have your website ready for conversions, then Google Ads can really convert highly. Why are those important first? You can really pull those into the ads. So you can track phone calls, form fills. You can even track who clicks, get directions, and then who gets to the store. Now, I don't highly suggest making that the main goal for your campaigns, but I do suggest the main goals to be either form fills or to be calls. Why those is because calls, you can see in the call details of how long that call was from a Google ad. If it's a search campaign, you can see the exact keyword, the length of the call, what day they called, around what time they called, and you can report all that back and then compare it to your software and seeing the sales and conversions. And same with form fills, you can see what day, what time those form fills came in. And obviously, if you have something like Clean Cloud or Smart where they can actually make the purchase online or track the purchase or any of that stuff, you can really track every single stage with Google Ads. And so that's how you get the best conversion. I'm not really paying attention to impressions or clicks. I'm paying attention to sales. And that's what I want to see. So the calls, the form fills, the get directions, all that helps me kind of figure out what's working best in the area, because you'll see that. You'll see across the country that sometimes form fills are like the biggest in this like zip code. And then for some reason, calls are the biggest in the zip code. And sure, some of that might be like an age demographic, or it just might be how people shop in that area. To be honest with you, sometimes it makes me realize what the website's missing. Like if they're calling about some simple things that they could have learned about on the website, maybe we should add that. Maybe we should look into what is missing on the website and build that out. But overall, it's good to have that data, because if I see a call, you're getting a bunch of calls, but they're all 17 seconds. That's not closing any deal. They may be calling and being like, hey, are you open today? Great. But sure. Or is it just not a good fit? They're calling being like, hey, is this Taco Bell? And you're like, we're not Taco Bell. Not a good fit. So then you can track down that keyword. You could track down where that call came and then fix that issue and optimize your ads even more. So there's a lot of data you can kind of pull from Google Ads to then get that conversion that leads to more sales, and find exactly the age range, exactly, every little detail about the area. And again, going back to having a WordPress website, you can fully track all that stuff with the Google Tag Manager, getting Google Analytics set up, all that on the back end. Sometimes with these templated sites, it can get a little tricky. Or recently, I've had a lot of these templated sites where as soon as you go to inject some code to track your sales, they go, whoa, 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 whoa. You want to add code? Well, you're going to have to upgrade your monthly. And now all of a sudden you're paying monthly a little bit more just so you can track, what's happening on the website, which is kind of crazy. I think that should be just included with any website in general. But 2026 is going to be your year. This is the year that you track those conversions. Okay, Google Business Profile done, website done, Google Ads up and running. Now we are ready for some email marketing and text message marketing. You would be surprised how many times I meet with a client and they have 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 80,000 emails just laying around that they've just been collecting for years because their software that they have lets them collect it, but they're not really thinking about it. They're not really knowing what to do with it. And so it is just collecting dust. And that is kind of where I like to start often with clients, depending on what they have going on, is reaching out and being like, okay, well, how is this list? What is the state? What's the status with this list? When's the last time you sent out an email? When's the last time you sent out a text message? Okay. And then let's do some easy trial runs to kind of see how warm is this list or how accurate this list is. Because sometimes you've been collecting these emails for so long, that email doesn't exist anymore. That person moved on or closed that email or it got hacked or whatever. So we have to figure out how clean is this list. And we also need to figure out, how warm are they? How excited are they about your business? Sometimes they're very excited about your business, but you just haven't given them a chance to be excited about your business. You'd be surprised how often that is the situation. Because if you have a list of like 40,000 emails, I don't know if you know this, but you can upload that to Google Ads or Facebook Ads, and you can use that data and say, hey, Google, these are my customers. Let's show them and their friends our advertisement. Try to get them back into your location. And that's a great way to use a list in general. So highly suggest looking into that if you already have over 1,000 emails. But, I like it when it's a little bit larger to give them more data points to kind of work with. But that's one way. But even let's just send out something easy in the beginning. I want you to send out a couple of easy emails and then start building out some automations. Everything I'm going to talk about is available inside the Marketing Beaver app. And I'm going to mention that because that's the software that I know how to use and I use every single day. Of course, some of this is going to be available in like other apps and other email and text message services with different availability. Sometimes they charge you for how big the list is. Sometimes they're just limited. But what I'm going to talk about is in the Marketing Beaver app. The first simple email that you're going to send out is a refer a friend email. Easy ask. Low risk. So you're going to send this out to everyone. You're going to have a nice subject line. You're going to think about what applies to your business, something a little fun, a little catchy. Maybe you can put any emoji in there. If you're feeling a little awake, a little fun, put an emoji in the subject line. And then you're going to just make it a simple text-based email. And it's just going to be very simple of like, hey, thank you so much for using our business. Love to have you come back. But honestly, could you tell a friend about us? And sure, you could put some kind of deal in there if you want, but I don't like putting in an offer right away. I don't like discounting the service right away. If you feel that you would like to, sure. But I always like to see what can we do in exchange without discounts. So you get the full income first. And because we could always give them a discount later. So I'd send out a refer a friend email, something real nice, something real simple. And the reason I said text-based is because when you make it all beautiful and you add all these graphics and you got like videos or whatever, the chances of you going into spam or the chances of you going into the promotions tab, insanely high, especially in 2026, insanely high for you to go into one of those categories. And then this massive email list of whatever it is, 1,000 to 40,000, 80,000, you just lost some of them based on that. You're going to make it very, very simple. And then just see what you get from that. See if you get some replies, see who opens it, see what your open rate is, how many referrals you get. But I like to leave it for a few days, come back to it, and then look at the data overall. See how it opened up after 3 days, 4 days. Because you'll often see people in the first 48 hours going to open it, and then you're going to have a couple of days later people that are like just getting to their email, that don't check their email every day. And I also suggest sending this email on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday, in that range. Why not the weekend? Well, the weekend, they're busy. They're doing stuff. They have kids, they have families, whatever. It's going to get lost with all the other emails to the weekend. On Monday, you don't want to send it because everyone is sending all these emails and catching up on work and getting back into the groove of things. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, middle of the week, less emails, less things happening. They're kind of back at work. So the chances of them seeing much higher. Those you remove the emails that don't work anymore. Some people might unsubscribe. That's fine. And then now you have a good starting line. Now I would maybe wait a couple weeks and then I would send out a Google review request to that clean list. And now, once again, trying a different subject line. Hey, thanks so much. If you could just leave us a good review, here's a link, so I like to throw something in there that's a little bit like, hey, leave us a review, but also if you have any issues, let us know. And then again, now you're seeing who opens and how quick they opened and how many reviews you got. And that's great. That's setting you up for success. And like I said in the beginning, Google reviews, really important. Google loves it when you're using the Google business profile. So getting those reviews is great. And also you're warming up this list. You're kind of figuring out who's actually on this list and who's going to be a cheerleader for your company. A lot of people like doing newsletters. We suggest like a evergreen newsletter where you build out 12 emails, 1 email a month, and they're evergreen. So that means that they're not holiday based. They're not like seasonal. Everyone gets the first email and then 30 days later they get this email, then they get this email, they get this email. And I'm just going to start with that. I'm just going to suggest building out those 12 emails because that's already 12 more emails than maybe you sent last year. And once you have that up and going, you can always add to. You could add an extra email here. If you feel crazy, you can throw in a text message here or there. And I like doing that. I like doing a text message that is maybe it's like flash sale on your slowest day. I often suggest that to clients where it's like, if you have a day that's just really slow every day of the week, schedule a text message to go out that morning. That's a flash deal, just that day. And that can really drive up sales on that day. And it's a little fun, a little different. And so, yeah, you could build that into the automations of 12 months where you have an email, maybe a text message here. And then also maybe something that's just like, hey, checking in. Let me know if you need anything. Something simple like that. Not too pushy, not too salesy. But the open rate with text message is really high. And it's pennies to send out. So why not? And people like it. And also, we've seen a lot of success with asking for Google reviews through text message. So something to also try later down the line. But I really kind of want to get you just up and going with the 12-month emails. I mean, it's so much more than you had last year and you have a better open rate. And now you're motivated to get new emails in. And how do you get new emails in? Start asking for them. Put QR codes up around the building. Hey, join our email list. Maybe give them something for free if they do. Like have some kind of trade, have QR codes available, have ways for them to join, add it to the website. Hey, sign up for our email list. Get people involved and have that grow. And of course, all the new customers, they can get added to it. But yeah, I really think this is something that a lot of companies miss. They're sitting on a lot of free money, not only like the way I talked about earlier where you can upload that list to ads, but also just building these simple automations one time that will just run for you for the rest of the year and just make you money here and there off of free data that you're already getting. Wow. Look at how far you've gone. You've gotten everything in line. Things are moving forward. Hey, yeah, you got a couple sales coming in from your Google ads. You got some sales coming in from your emails. Feeling pretty good. This is solid. Well, Zach, what's next? Well, I want you to sit down and think of a monthly offer. And it could be something that you're already doing. Like 1 month, you're like, you know what? This month, we're going to promote comforters. We already do comforters, but this month, we're going to tell people about comforters. You don't need to offer a discount. You don't need to offer some kind of lower price with the comforters. I'm just telling you like what you're going to talk about that month. And you'll kind of notice that in marketing, that happens a lot where it's like, it could be on the cover of a box where they're like now made with X or now with less sodium, right? So it's like they're talking about the things that have changed, but also sometimes they're just highlighting a part of the product. And that's what you're going to do here. You're just going to highlight something each month. You're going to have some kind of deal. Maybe it is a discount, but also I highly suggest just highlighting something. So I always like to start with something like comforters. Hey, did you know we do comforters? You send that in an email, send that in a text. Hey, bring in your comforter this Saturday, Hey, we're doing comforters all week. Whatever it is, some kind of wording, something simple that can go in your email, can go in your text. You could also put up some signage in your store like, we do comforters. And then that just kind of pushes that sales more. And it gets people that have been coming to you for maybe years to get your shirts cleaned or anything else. And now they're realizing that they can do comforters there. We recently did this with a client with wedding dresses too. Like, hey, did you know we take care of wedding dresses? And just kind of mentioning that service and making a video around that service, running the Google ads with that service, the growth of the wedding dresses, wonderful, a real uptick, but it's just kind of picking something each month and pushing that. And sure, it kind of makes sense with certain seasons, like you have prom season, of course. And then, I have some clients that are near water and they do like boat covers. So all those types of things that can kind of change with the season. Just think about that and plan that out for this year. Okay, you made it to the bonus tip. This is something super easy that you can do. You can do it in a couple different ways. I'm really seeing right now where this is helping my clients get better conversions on their ads, getting some of those customers coming back that, were one-time visit, or getting a lot of people that were on the fence or just busy in their life to actually sit down and convert, becoming a lead or a client in some sort of way. And all of this is possible with a retargeting ad. Some people will refer to it as retargeting. Some people will refer to it as remarketing. All it is just taking the data that you've already been collecting with the Google Pixel or the Facebook Pixel and remarketing to those people, getting them back onto the website, getting them back interested. It's really that easy. And I only suggest this once you have everything else in place. And why is that? That is because in the early stages of Google ads, you are telling Google, I like this, I don't like this, and you're fine-tuning your audience. And as you fine-tune the audience, you're removing yourself from searches that are not good, and you're getting more of the searches that are good. And as that happens, you don't want to remarket to those people that weren't a good fit in the beginning. So it really does take some time to get the data in place and everything set up for success so you can remarket. So what I suggest with Google ads is building a remarketing campaign as a performance max campaign, and then getting that placement of the Google Maps and getting in the Gmail and getting into the searches and also maybe YouTube, and just getting all those placements set up inside that Performance Max. And I really like to aim it towards sounding like, hey, I know you've come in before, or hey, why not today? And really trying to push those people that were on the fence or maybe only came in one time to come back. And so the video you make for the YouTube ad could be that, like, hey, I know you came in before, come on back. And we normally set it at like $2 to $4. And I have clients that have huge budgets and I have clients that have small budgets. And we still find that around the $2 to $4 a day in their area, especially when they're running in like a few zip codes or a city-based radius, that $2 to $4 seems to really work to retarget all those people. And it's great because if you do it on Google ads, you're also getting people that came from maybe a viral Facebook or Instagram video that went to your website and they looked around and they're like, oh yeah, maybe one day. You're getting those people in that, and you're able to remarket to them. And you can do exactly the same thing on Facebook ads too. So highly suggest looking into either one. Also, you can spend a really low budget with the meta ads of retargeting using the Facebook pixel. You have around 180 days to remarket to those people. So if the Facebook pixel's installed, it's been running for 180 days, you have all those days to get them back engaged. And you could, I normally push them to like, it could be a call or it could be the website overall with like a Facebook ad. I don't really like to do like the lead forms because I feel like with Facebook, you get a lot of people 2 a.m. filling out a form being like, yeah, sure, I'm interested. And then they weren't really interested. They were just, up at 2 a.m. But with Google, you don't get that as much because of search intent. You get people that are like, I need this today. And so how they stumbled onto you is probably they're looking for that today. But with Facebook, I try to maybe go a little more of like conversion based, kind of depending on the situation, what all is set up on the website. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've applied these things or any of these things are something that you're already doing, or if there's something that's been working for you that's interesting or different. I would love to hear about it. I love hearing about new ways to kind of market and what people are doing to grow their business. So feel free to put that in the comments or reach out to me personally. But thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe as I continue to make more videos like this. Thank you so much. Enjoy your 2026. You're going to crush it this year.